Well, it's finally here. The Packout Rolling Drawer. Will this be the answer to all your toolbox problems? Let's find out. In case you don't know, Milwaukee launched the Packout system in the fall of 2017. That's roughly 7.5 years ago for those of you who aren't great at math. Very shortly after releasing the now ubiquitous 3-toolbox stack, a rolling toolbox, large toolbox, and small toolbox, people started realizing how annoying it can be to access all of their tools. To solve those complaints, Milwaukee came out with these drawer units right away. Just kidding, they waited until the spring of 2021. I found that delay so annoying that I ended up just making my own 2-drawer. It's actually one of the first videos I ever posted on YouTube. A lot has happened in the last 4 years, including the announcement of this rolling drawer last June at the 2024 Milwaukee Pipeline event. They said this would come early next year, but people are just starting to get theirs now in mid-May. In the meantime, Modbox released their rolling 2-drawer last fall. Flex Stack Pack single rolling drawer became available shortly after, and Rigid Pro Gear 2.0 has actually had rolling drawers since last spring. However, Rigid doesn't have any drawers large enough to store big tools like a circ saw. I scoured 5 different Home Depots over the last week and finally found this one last weekend. In this first impressions, I'll be going over specs and dimensions, special features for the exterior and interior of the box, many pros as well as cons, including a serious safety concern I think every user should be aware of. Also, I have a variety of storage examples, initial comparisons of this roller to other options, and how some of the new Packout rail attachments work with this new box. Alright, starting with pricing. When announced last year, Milwaukee said this would be $249, and I'm pleasantly surprised it's still that price. This box and almost all of the Packout products are made in Israel by a company called Keter. For US buyers, tariffs are impacting basically every industry. Luckily, Israel currently has a much lower rate than other countries we import goods from. But that rate is currently postponed, so I hope we don't see any Packout price increases in the near future, since it's already one of the most expensive systems. I'm already working on an in-depth comparison with more rolling drawers for the near future. But let me quickly share the prices of competing products to give you some more context. The Klein Modbox 2-drawer has an MSRP of $199, but it's on sale at Lowe's right now for $169, a slight increase from the Doorbuster sale last fall of $139. The Flex Stack Pack 1-drawer is now $249 at Lowe's. In the fall it was $199, but the price increased. Yet you can still get it for $199 at other retailers like Ohio Power Tool. And last but not least, Rigid Pro Gear 2.0. They were actually the first system to have a rolling drawer toolbox, since the handle and wheels are removable from the bottom box and you can attach them to a drawer box. If you get the standalone handle attachment, that costs $49.99, and the drawer boxes right now cost $99 for the 2-drawer, $119 for the 3-drawer, and $129 for the 4-drawer. So the total for a rigid rolling drawer will range from $150 to $180. I love that you can reconfigure your rigid setup, but if you want a more sturdy handle, a large drawer, and better wheels, you'll have to spend a bit more for a different system. Before getting into important specs and pros and cons, let's go over my favorite category, special features. There's a lot of neat things to go over, but let's start with one of the most essential parts, the new low-profile handle. This handle also ships on the new rolling toolboxes. When collapsed, it's only 19.75 inches tall, so it should fit in many truck beds with covers on. However, I have seen some comments about 2 problems. If you have a smaller truck like older Tacomas, or use a thick bed mat, this box still might be too tall. Also, this handle may be short, but the box is tall, so it probably won't fit in a sedan trunk. More details in the dimensions category coming up. When this handle is raised, it tops out at 43 inches, which is a little shorter than the standard Milwaukee handle and the Klein Modbox handle. And to get that minimal height, the telescoping tubes are split into 3 sections rather than 2. The multi-piece handle design now has a slightly more complicated internal mechanism. So when raising and lowering, the button actually needs to activate 2 sets of releases in the handle. I found that the handle may get stuck in the middle or extend at slightly different times. So I think it just takes a little more getting used to than the simple single action button found on many other systems. Also, the handle now rattles more than the original and competitors. There's also some more deflection back and forth when under load. Yet the load rating is still 250, so if Milwaukee tested the handle correctly, everything should be fine. You can also increase the versatility of your Packout handle with the handler system. The same top mounts for the original Packout handle can be used on this one, but I'll be making newer ones that are a better fit for this low profile handle. Attaching the mounts takes seconds and enables you to create a modular workstation on many different brands or any flat surface with a wall mount. Check out handler accessories like the tray, screwdriver rack, plier rack, and more in this video, or go to whyhedesigns.com. One of the most iconic design aspects of Milwaukee Packout is the aluminum corner rails. For many years they were just a cool cosmetic feature with minimal extra functionality, perhaps an extra grab handle or a lashing point. But in the last few years I've created over 25 Packout rail accessories, and in the last year Milwaukee has come out with some of their own Packout rail attachments. One of the main reasons why Milwaukee made this box so tall is to include these rear aluminum rails. The standard box doesn't have any, so most of the Packout attachments are not compatible on this roller box. But now they all are on the new rolling drawer box. I'm going to make a more detailed comparison video of these Packout attachments to other options, but here's some of my first impressions and quick comparisons. First up, the long tool holder. The lower part of this kit is very beefy, and the rail attachment points are integrated. The upper part has some retention wire gates, and it snaps onto the universal rail brackets. These kits should come with an Allen key, but longer hex keys with ball ends make install a little easier. The attachments go on and off fairly easily by depressing the black spring tabs. The bottom piece has those integrated rail attachments, so this could work on both types of rolling boxes. When installing, make sure you place it above the wheel, but also leave room for the handle to open as well. One of the best parts about this long tool holder is the rubber receivers. As you push a tool into it, the rubber forms around the round pipe or rectangular level and adds tension. It's pretty convenient to remove items by opening the wire gates, but unfortunately the spaces are not big enough for the heavy-duty tough-built level or track saw tracks. Don't worry, here's some other options. The handler open rack will accommodate bigger items like this XL level and track saw tracks. Also, the PRA rotating level holder is available in 2 sizes. And the PRA StackTech rail is compatible with StackTech's quick release long tool holder. If you want to switch which side the holder is on, you need to pull each rubber insert out and place it on the other side. This is actually really annoying. Milwaukee could have just included 3 more for probably less than $1, or included a tab to remove them easier with a tool. The PRA side handler attaches to the rolling drawer with 6 Phillips machine screws. Would you rather install accessories with this little tool, these slightly better options, or the most common modern fastener, the Phillips screw? There are locking tabs above each accessory slot on the wall mount, and you can attach the same handler accessories to the standard rolling toolbox with the rolling box side handler mount. With very similar tools as before, the deep tray and the new open rack with dividers holds everything securely. And if you roll in with a 6-foot level and don't have enough vertical space above you to slide it all the way out vertically, you can pop off the open rack and slide the level out. If you take the dividers out of the divided open rack or swap to the basic one, my side handlers can also accommodate track saw tracks. From the handle of the box to the outside of the lower long tool holder, it's about 3 1/4. And from handle to edge of the deep tray, it's also about 3 1/4. The upper long tool holder is closer to 3 3/4, and the open rack is under 2 3/4. Don't forget that the handler accessories are easily removable for getting through compact areas, and the long tool holder is still attached with 2 screws. Moving on to the battery racks. They attach with the same universal Packout brackets. Quick tip, when installing the brackets on a larger box like the drawer, make sure they're down a little so you don't smash your fingers when releasing the accessory. As you expect, the M18 batteries click in, and yes, the 12.0 works too, but I think that's kind of obnoxious on the side of a box. The M12 battery caddy is much bulkier. I think it's a little silly if you want to store a few compact batteries, but it makes some more sense with the XC batteries. Personally, I found that releasing the M12 batteries in this position is really annoying, and it's a lot of space for just 3 M12 batteries. The tool caddy is pretty nice, roughly 11 1/4 by 2 1/4 by 3 3/4 inches tall. It has 3 dividers that really snap into place. I wouldn't say this caddy is good for long screwdrivers, but it makes more sense with shorter, wider items like these. The steel bar wrapping around the front can be used for tape measures, drills, and magnetic items. The steel bar also has a fold, so it's thicker on the longest side. For little clips on utensils, I recommend hanging them on the angles. The tray is also very versatile. At roughly 10 1/4 by 4, since it tapers, and ranging from 1.75 to 1.25 deep, you can store a variety of items. There is some room for different Milwaukee bit cases, but also the smallest Connect case fits alright too. The space on the right is also the perfect size for different Packout organizer bins, and you can make it more functional with a bin lid from whyhedesigns.com. The last accessory I currently have is the compact plate. I found this the most annoying to install, but it still wasn't that hard. Don't forget, it only has a 30-pound weight rating. Let's see if it works with the compact organizer. Nope, it does not click in because the lower part of the organizer hits the wheel. You could rest the case in the plate with the lower connecting slots, but it doesn't click in like it should on larger boxes. Another feature is that the attachments can be clicked onto the larger interior divider, making a battery caddy of sorts. Moving to the interior of the drawer, there are a few unique features, starting with the tray. It can rest on either side of the box, or using the half cleats on the side, it can hang on a compact plate or Packout wall mount. Just be aware that it's a looser fit with no ability to lock in like Packout boxes or most of the Packout accessories. Overall, the tray is very similar to the Modbox small toolbox bin, but it's a little smaller at 11 3/4 by 4.5 by 3 1/4. I wish Milwaukee included divider slots like Modbox or the smaller Packout tray from their small toolbox. If you've been in the Packout system for a while, you probably have at least one of these laying around. This tray from the large box can also rest on top on either side. The small toolbox bin with the lid also fits in the center, but the box won't close if it's on either side. The other 2 open trays from the small toolbox hang nicely on either side since they have that flange that can rest on the 2 bumps in the back. Next up, dividers. This box includes 2 large dividers and 6 smaller dividers, providing 1 to 9 different size compartments for separating tools. These dividers are very beefy and very snug fitting. Be prepared to use a lot of force to pull these dividers out. When by itself, the large divider can still deflect under some load, but as you connect multiple dividers together, it becomes very rigid. It's also worth thinking about how much space dividers use up. Almost 3 inches for the small dividers. Also, I've seen tons of users already taking the dividers out. Just keep in mind that according to Milwaukee, these dividers are one of the most important features of the box. So, if you don't use them, remember, that you still paid for them. Another feature inside the box is the Packout attachment slots on the side walls. At first I didn't think it fit, but if you push the tray, it will bend the box for just a second and pop into place. The tool caddy is slightly more low profile, but if you have a divider installed, it'll be a little tricky to get out. It would help if there was a bigger cutout above the release buttons for easier access. Once again, the large dividers can accommodate attachments. The battery rack with low profile batteries works pretty well. Another feature that can work with or without the dividers is my XL bins. This box would be best for large tools, but if you wanted more hand tool or fastener storage, XL bins allow you to keep your essentials together and remove everything you need in one go with the integrated grab tab. These were originally designed for the Packout tote, so they don't fit perfect in this box, but they can be a great option for some supplemental organization. I fit 4 4x4s, 2 2x4s, and 3 3x3s in the box, and it's organizing almost every hand tool I'd need. From screwdrivers to plumbing to electrical to demo, my hand tools are all easily accessible, and there's enough room for a tape, drill, impact, and bit case on the other side. I'll touch on weights of tools again in a bit, but keep in mind, all of these hand tools only weigh 41 pounds. That's pretty far off from the 150 or even 250 pound rating for this box. Similar to the Packout attachments is my handler system accessories. Oh yeah, and my system is 2 years older. Anyways, I made an easy to use low profile mounting bracket for the handler wall mount. Now you can hang different handler accessories on the side walls. It installs quickly with a Phillips screwdriver and works in either attachment slot. If you have other handler mounts, it'll be easy to stay organized when transporting tools or quickly setting up a mobile workstation. From trays to the screwdriver rack, the steel bar, or the bit rack, you can keep tools within reach without sacrificing too much real estate inside your box. The last interior feature I have for this video is the new wire dispenser brackets. You can hold up to two 10-gauge 500-foot spools for easy transport and dispensing. There's also room below those spools for storing more wire. I know what you're probably saying. You want 3 spools, which is why you should subscribe to see my handle spool dispenser coming soon. If you decide to do this setup, just keep in mind that each 500-foot spool is about 19 pounds, so this box can get heavy really fast. Luckily, the box deploys easily since the wheels go down some little ramps at the front, and it's not that hard to push it back in. There's a very obvious difference between this box and others. It's huge. This is the tallest Packout box and the deepest single drawer on the market, but the math isn't that simple. The exterior dimensions are roughly 22¼ inches wide, 19¾ inches tall, and 19½ inches deep. The wheels are 9 inches in diameter, 2.5 inches wide, and the wheelbase is 23¾ That's 2¼ inches wider than the standard rolling box. As I've shown in previous videos, the extra wide wheelbase of Rigid Pro Gear at 25.5 is more cumbersome to navigate in close quarters. This rolling drawer at almost 24 inches will be slightly more annoying to maneuver than the original box. As I mentioned earlier, the taller box should fit under a lot of truck bed covers, but not all of them. And for those of you who prefer to transport your tools more discreetly, this extra large rolling drawer will probably not fit in the trunk of your sedan. I tested it in a Honda Accord and Dodge Charger, but if you have any unique success cases, please comment them down below. Now the arguably more important dimensions, interior. Milwaukee says this box is 17 inches wide, 13 inches deep, and 16 inches tall. According to the raw numbers, the XL toolbox has over 300 more cubic inches of space. That size difference will be evident in the next category. At first glance, the XL box and drawer bin look pretty close, but the drawer box is actually a lot smaller as it can partially fit in the XL box with extra room side to side. Just keep in mind that all the boxes are not a perfect shape. Especially this one, there are big ribs for the dividers, small wheel wells for the front rollers, and the box has a taper because that's pretty much how all injection molded objects have to be. Now let's do some different tool storage examples and see how the rolling drawer compares to other options. First, a variety of power tools. We got a bunch of batteries, a brad nailer, multi-tool, drill, impact, mini blower, sander, recip saw, router, and a large rear handle circ saw. Surprisingly, all of these items are just over 50 pounds, so a ways off from the weight rating of 150 or 250 pounds. If you plan on using this drawer just for big tools, the rear circ saw fits comfortably in 2/3 of the box. You could squeeze another tool in, but the recip saw is now pushing on the divider, so I just put it on the other side. A pneumatic framing nailer is one of the biggest, most awkward tools I have, and it still fit pretty easily. Let's see how all the same power tools fit in the XL box. Remember how it has that 300 more cubic inches? That's how we can fit another bag, hammer drill, cutoff tool, and more batteries. With that extra stuff, it ended up totaling about 57.5 pounds of tools. The XL box is rated for 100. Now, how did the same tools fit in the standard rolling toolbox? Pretty well, actually. There's some room left over after the same tools from the rolling drawer. But there's a problem. Everything is now super cluttered. Isn't the whole point of drawers having easy access to many different levels of tools? Let's reorganize the tools from the rolling toolbox into a Packout 2 drawer and the new rolling box. Everything has been transferred out of the rolling box and is now much more organized across the 3 different drawers. Here's another example with some bigger hand tools. I have 4 dividers in place to hold hammers, pliers, wrenches, cutting tools, a medium size, and 2 big connect cases. All of these big hand tools only adds up to 42 pounds. Just like most products I review, this rolling drawer is not perfect. The first and most obvious con is the lack of tie-down points. I guess you could put the hook underneath the handle, but that's not ideal. Commonly, the steel bar on the front is also used as a handle, especially when helping upstairs. You can help a friend with the handle of the box, but be careful not to release the latch. You can always put something in the locking hole to keep the box closed in transit. The new box is also missing a rear tie-down point, which is useful for moving boxes or keeping your box in place during transit with a hook or a gate latch. An alternative is to use some PRA anchor points. They install easily, but work best with an X lashing rather than just front to back. I also have a couple ideas for rear anchor points that I'm still working on. Another common problem with Packout is the lower security. There's no metal reinforcement on the padlock eyelet, just like their other drawer units. And to make matters worse, when a drawer box is placed on top, it covers the padlock hole. Other boxes don't cover it, but the drawer box is covering it is pretty annoying. On the other end of the spectrum, ModBox has a reinforced hole that locks the rotating bar in place, and there's another reinforced hole to run a cable connecting box to box. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the lack of drawer slides. Do the wheels on the bottom still allow the drawer to open smoothly? For the most part. Until you want to use it on long grass, at a slight angle, or have it loaded to its max capacity. On long grass, the wheels started pulling in debris within seconds. I'd bet it's only going to perform worse on gravel and mud. I found a few blades of grass inside the box after just a few minutes outside. So if you work inside customers' houses and outside, I'd be very careful about transporting a mess inside. The wheels have a rubbery texture, so you're going to have to be cognizant about how smooth they stay over time, and if you need to clean them. Now let's get to the safety concern. By opting out of drawer slides, Milwaukee has created a few scenarios. First, you open the drawer and it falls at an angle. Honestly, I don't hate it. If you're working out of a tall truck, it might make it easier to access tools. However, if you lean into the box too much, you can pop the bin off the tracks. For this demo, I have it on a workbench, but think of the workbench as a placeholder for a truck tailgate, van floor, deck, or a workbench. 3. Another way the bin may pop out, and actually the reason why I decided to bring this whole thing up, is because if the drawer is open and you lean the stack back, it may pop out. I was testing this off camera last week with some people next to the box, and it unexpectedly popped out and spilled tools all over the floor, less than an inch from people's toes. That event made me really want to talk about this safety concern. Here's a few examples. 1. Your apprentice is looking for something in the drawer and leans into it and the bin falls out. 2. Let's say a kid wants to see inside. Since there are no drawer slides, the bin will be a lot heavier than they're expecting, it'll open fast, and it could then fall on them. 3. Let's say that you've opened the drawer 99 times and it's been fine every single time. But on this last time, you're at your truck, the tools have rearranged themselves toward the front, making it front heavy. You open the drawer, the bin pops out and falls on you, or a passerby like your kid, or an animal. That's why I devised a simple solution to keep your drawer in under more conditions. It just takes a few minutes and 6 feet of paracord. Start by pushing an end through this little hole on the back. Then tie a chunky stopper knot so the rope won't get pulled through. Next, loop the cord through the first 2 accessory slots, then the other side, and send the rope through the same hole on the other side of the box. Take a second to get all the slack out of the system until you get an efficient connection going back and forth like this. To add tension to the system, I tied an overhand on a bite. Then you can wrap the rope around the rail through the knot and pull it tight. Loop the remaining through the overhand knot one more time to keep tension, and add a couple half hitches to complete your system. Now, as the drawer is fully open, the paracord is taut and keeps the bin in place. With the same 35 pounds in the bin, you can pop it out manually, but it won't fall out unexpectedly anymore. Just be careful about what the total weight is of your rolling drawer. I loaded it up with 70 pounds, and instead of the bin falling out now, your entire box or entire stack could come tumbling forward. I hope this video taught you that drawer slides sure are handy. And in case you don't know, they're actually really cheap in bulk. Obviously, these prices don't include shipping, other fees, or assembly, but Milwaukee definitely could have included drawer slides at this $250 price point. They just didn't. At the end of the day, your drawer bin may never fall out on you, but I would recommend adding the rope as a failsafe and keeping the weight towards the back. When weight is at the front, it tilts the box more and gets closer to popping out. Also, Milwaukee should be more clear on the optimal use case and weight ratings by including the weight rating on the drawer itself, like Klein. Here's a few final notes on the build quality of this overall box. The Gen 2 wheels no longer have a bearing. They're smaller than Modbox by 1 inch and 1.5 pounds less. With less weight at the back of the box, that's partially why the entire box can tip over easily. On the bright side, the bin itself is very sturdy. I have no concerns about holding whatever weight you want when on level ground, but the molded tracks and 6 wheels are not going to be ideal for everyone. There's one steel bar at the bottom of the Packout box and one embedded in the lid. Modbox has 2. Modbox has 3 drawer slides, so they can create alternative rolling drawer variants. Milwaukee's box is plain on the inside, so they'll need a completely different mold for future variants. If you got this far, you know we covered a lot of info in the last 30 minutes. Let's do a quick recap. Price, $249. That's tied with Flex for the most expensive rolling drawer. Modbox is $50 less at its normal price and on sale for even less right now. It'll be interesting to see how the whole pricing scale changes once StackTech releases their 3 different rolling drawers. Weight capacity, 250 pounds for the stack like normal. But Milwaukee is not super clear on what the drawer can hold. Last summer, at Pipeline, they said 150 pounds, but now it looks like it can hold 250. The main features are the low-profile handle, corner accessory rails, interior dividers, and tray. So, what do you think about the new Milwaukee Rolling Drawer? A few days ago, I posted an Instagram story to see if there were any questions I should address in this video. Someone asked me if the rolling drawer met my expectations. And I would say, yeah, it did. Because when I saw the release last summer, I knew it would be helpful to many Packout users, but it would also have a few issues. Is this box well built, and will it deliver the ideal setup for some people? Yes, but here's some food for thought. If Milwaukee really wanted to keep the crown for the best modular toolbox system, I don't think this helps them that much. When Milwaukee, or actually their parent company, TTI, is one of the biggest players in the entire tool market, there really isn't a great reason why they didn't throw every single feature into this box, or at least a pair of drawer slides. Even ToughBuilt, a company many times smaller than Milwaukee, has announced they have 3 different rolling drawer variants coming this summer. So it's pretty disappointing when this box is a one-trick pony. It's a really big drawer. If Milwaukee had listened closer to user feedback, they would know a large single drawer box is also at the top of many people's wish lists. And that would have really helped round out the system. If you're still struggling to find which system is best for you, don't worry. I'm currently working on a video that will cover the top 20 toolbox systems. And I have several detailed comparisons and more reviews coming soon. If you want any of the accessories I make, go to whyhedesigns.com and use this discount code at checkout. I'd appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for a bunch of brand new toolbox content coming this summer.